Move, sweetheart. These aisles are not your little craft fair. That was the opening line, delivered with a smile sharp enough to slice shrink wrap. I was halfway up the picker ladder, scanner in one hand, a pallet tag in the other, when the voice drifted up like perfume and entitlement. Below me stood a woman in a white blazer that had never met a loading dock. Her heels clicked against the concrete as if the warehouse owed her applause. Behind her came our leadership parade, my site director, a regional VP I had seen twice, and two people clutching tablets like shields. They all wore the same expression, eager, nervous, and faintly allergic to hard work. I climbed down slowly, letting my boots thud on every rung. I do not remember approving a tour for a fashion magazine, I said. The woman turned and looked me up and down, pausing on my high-visibility vest like it offended her personally. I am Sloan Whitaker, optimization consultant, brought in to modernize this place. Congratulations, I said. Do they pin the badge on you, or do you print it yourself? My site director, Martin, cleared his throat in that way managers do when they want you to behave without having to earn it. Renee, this is important. Sloan is here from Quellian Advisory. Quellian Advisory. The name sounded like a bottled water brand that charged extra for oxygen. I was Renee Caldwell, warehouse manager at Brightmark Supply Systems. I had been here for years, long enough to remember when our receiving bay door stuck in winter and everyone took turns shoulder-checking it open. I had a degree in operations management. I had certifications in safety, inventory control, and hazmat handling. I could read a pick path map like a lullaby and spot a missed slot from across an aisle. And yet, here stood Sloan, acting like my warehouse was a messy closet she had been hired to reorganize. Sloan lifted her chin. Martin tells me you run the floor. I run the floor, I said. The docks, the cycle counts, the shipping windows, the problem solving, and, when needed, the grown adults who panic when a label printer jams. Martin made a small, choking sound. The VP did not laugh, but his eyes flickered like he wanted to. Sloan's smile did not change. How charming, a hands-on manager. That is adorable. Adorable is a puppy, I said. This is a distribution operation. Try not to confuse the two. She stepped forward, peering past me toward the racking. We will be doing things differently. Your processes are quaint. Quaint. Like my forklift fleet was a set of antique spoons. Martin waved a hand toward the group like he was unveiling a renovation. Sloan is implementing a new efficiency program. She will lead the transformation. Renee, you will support her. Support her. That was the phrase. The polite way to say, move aside, you are now furniture. Sloan's gaze drifted to the whiteboard near my desk, covered in my notes. Pick accuracy, shrink, near-miss logs, dock-to-stock time, and the daily labor plan. Who made this? I did, I said. It helps keep people alive and product moving. She tilted her head. You track near misses? Near misses become injuries if you ignore them, I said. And injuries become lawsuits, turnover, and guilt that keeps you awake. I am not a fan of any of those. Sloan turned to Martin. We can eliminate this. It creates a fear culture. I stared at her. Near-miss reporting creates a safety culture. Fear culture is when people stop telling you the truth because you punish them for it. Sloan's eyes narrowed, just a fraction. You seem resistant. I seem employed, I said. There is a difference. She walked toward my desk, tapping her tablet like it was a judge's gavel. I reviewed your inventory model proposal from last quarter. Interesting ideas. A bit conservative. My stomach tightened. That proposal had been mine. A redesign of slotting, a new replenishment cadence, and a plan to reduce forklift cross-traffic. Leadership had called it too complex for this site. Now Sloan was quoting it like she had written it in a bathtub. Before I could answer, one of my leads, Tessa, approached with a clipboard and a worried face. She glanced at Sloan and then at me. Renee, we have a mismatch on inbound from Sunpier Freight. The seal number does not match the bill. That was not a small thing. That was a stop-the-line thing. I will handle it, I said, already turning. Sloane held up a hand. No, let the system handle it. We cannot keep stopping operations for minor discrepancies. I slowly looked back at her. A wrong seal number is how stolen product walks out the door wearing a mustache. It is not minor. Martin shifted. Renee, maybe... No, I said, firm. If a trailer seal does not match, we lock it down. That is policy. Sloane's smile returned, tighter now. Policy is what we change. Something in me went quiet. Not the scared kind of quiet, the kind that happens right before a storm decides where to land. I nodded once. All right, Sloane, you want modern? I can do modern. She leaned in, voice low, meant only for me. Just remember, Renee, people who have been in one place too long confuse routine with value. I leaned in too. And people who parachute in confuse confidence with competence. Her eyes flashed. Tessa waited, tense, holding the clipboard like it could protect her from nonsense. I took the clipboard gently. Seal mismatch. We lock it down. I will verify. Sloane exhaled as if I had personally inconvenienced her oxygen supply. Fine, but after this, we meet. I want a list of your team leads, your schedules, and your incident logs. My incident logs? I echoed. Yes, she said sweetly. We need to identify where your leadership style is causing inefficiency. I smiled back, slow and polite. Then you will love what I have documented. I walked toward receiving with Tessa, but I could feel Sloane's eyes on my back. She thought she had arrived to rearrange my world. She did not realize she had just handed me a reason to sharpen every receipt, every record, every metric I had ever saved, and I saved everything. By the time we reached the inbound bay, the trailer sat there like a sealed secret. Tessa whispered, "She is going to get someone hurt." I looked at the seal, then at the camera mounted above the dock door, then at the clipboard in my hand. I know, I said, and if she wants to play games, I will make sure she loses on a scoreboard she cannot edit. As I snapped a photo of the mismatched seal number, my phone buzzed with a calendar invite. Mandatory Performance Alignment Meeting. Organizer, Sloane Whitaker. The note beneath it read, Attendance required. Bring documentation. I laughed once, quietly, because she had no idea what I considered documentation. And somewhere in the warehouse, a pallet jack squealed like it was already warning us. Sloane chose the conference room that overlooked the warehouse floor, the one with the glass wall like a fishbowl. She sat at the head of the table, tablet propped up, a bottle of artisanal water placed carefully beside it. She had the posture of someone who thought gravity was negotiable. When I walked in, she did not stand. She did not greet me. She just pointed to a chair as if I was being assigned a seat in detention. You are late, she said. I am on time, I replied, setting my binder down. Your invite said early morning. That is not a timestamp. That is a mood. Her lips tightened. We will start. I am rolling out Quellian's Rapid Flow Initiative. It will cut travel time, reduce labor waste, and increase throughput. Throughput is not a religion, I said. You can stop chanting. Martin sat to my left, eyes down, pretending he was not a grown man hiding behind a pen. 2 HR reps joined on video, smiling the forced smiles of people who have never worn steel-toe boots. Sloane tapped her tablet, and a slide deck appeared on the screen. Bold arrows, glossy stock photos, and buzzwords stacked like boxes with no labels. Then I saw it. My racking reslot plan, my replenishment triggers, my pick path redesign, my exact diagram, down to the aisle numbers. Only now the title read, Rapid Flow Site Modernization, prepared by Sloane Whitaker. I felt something cold in my chest, like a forklift battery dropped in water. You used my work, I said. Sloane blinked slowly. I used your historical inputs. The difference is that I made them actionable. My diagrams are in your deck, I said. My language, my layout. You did not even change the font. Martin cleared his throat. Renee. Sloane held up a hand without looking at him. Territorial behavior is common in long-tenured managers. It is a psychological barrier to improvement. I stared at her. Did Quellion teach you that, or did you pick it up naturally by being unbearable? One HR rep coughed into her microphone like laughter trying to escape. Sloan clicked to the next slide. Now, the important part. We will reduce double verification steps. We will increase pick rate targets. We will extend equipment maintenance intervals. Modern equipment does not need constant babysitting. I leaned forward. Our order profile includes regulated chemicals and medical supplies. We double verify for a reason. Redundancy, she said, tasting the word like it was sour. Waste. Redundancy, I said, is how people do not get poisoned and customers do not sue us. Sloane's smile turned sharp again. You are emotional. This is why we need external guidance. External guidance, I said, is useful when it is intelligent. She clicked again. A table of new targets filled the screen. Faster pick rates, less cycle counting, fewer quality checks, maintenance pushed out. I recognized the pattern. Numbers that looked good in a meeting and terrible in a morgue. My leads will not follow this, I said. They will, she replied, if they value their jobs. Martin finally spoke, voice small. Sloan, maybe we can pilot. No, she snapped. We commit. Half measures fail. Renee will enforce compliance. I laughed. It came out dry. Sloan leaned in. Something amusing? Yes, I said. You think you can threaten my team into cutting corners, but you do not understand what keeps a warehouse running. And you do? She asked. I understand that when a conveyor belt jams, people do not care about slide decks, I said. They care about fingers, and when a trailer arrives with a seal mismatch, they care about theft, and when a pallet of corrosives gets mispicked, they care about not breathing fumes. Sloan sat back. Noted. Now I will need your incident logs, your training records, and your productivity notes. You already have them, I said, tapping my binder. You copied them into your deck. Her cheeks colored slightly. I need them in a standardized format. You want them cleaned, I said. So the story is prettier, she stared. Watch your tone. Watch your math, I replied. After the meeting, I returned to the floor and found Tessa near outbound, jaw clenched. She just told Andre he is too slow to be useful. Andre was one of our best forklift operators. Calm, careful, never reckless. The kind of person you wanted in a tight aisle with a tall load. I walked toward Andre and found him standing beside his lift, silent. His shoulders were stiff, like he was trying not to react. Sloan stood nearby, gesturing at her tablet. You will take tighter turns. Your current approach wastes seconds. Andre's voice was quiet. Seconds keep pallets from tipping. Sloan scoffed. Fear-based excuses. Renee, correct this. I looked at Andre, then at Sloan. Andre, keep doing it your way. Sloan's eyes widened. Excuse me? You heard me, I said. We do not trade safety for your bonus points. She stepped closer, voice low. You are undermining me. No, I said softly. I am protecting people from you. Her smile vanished. Then you will be documented. Perfect, I said. I love documentation. That afternoon, a message hit my inbox. Performance concern notice. Failure to support transformation efforts. Sloan had moved fast. She was building a paper cage, so I built something else. I pulled my old spreadsheets, the ones I had been saving for years, maintenance logs, near-miss trends, pick error reports, vendor compliance notes, trailer seal audit photos, everything. Warehouses are loud, but data is louder when you know how to make it speak, and Sloan had just given me the best reason to let it scream. Sloan's rapid flow changes landed on the warehouse like a bad smell, sudden, everywhere, and impossible to ignore. Within days, the floor felt different, not just busier, edgier. People stopped joking in the break room. Radios went quiet except for clipped instructions. When a forklift beeped in reverse, heads turned too fast, like everyone expected impact. Sloan held huddle sessions near the time clock, standing on a small step stool like she was addressing troops who did not enlist. She spoke in phrases that sounded expensive and meant nothing. Momentum is a mindset. Efficiency is identity. Comfort is the enemy. I stood at the back with my arms crossed, watching faces. My team did not fear hard work. They feared stupid work. There is a difference. After one huddle, Sloan pointed at the near-miss board I kept updated. "This will come down," she announced. Tessa stepped forward. "That board helps us track hazards." Sloan tilted her head. "It helps you dwell." I walked up beside Tessa. "It stays," I said. Sloan smiled like a shark, remembering it has teeth. "Renee, I will not ask twice." "Good," I said. "I do not answer twice." That same day, I got a call from shipping. A pallet of temperature-sensitive medical kits had been staged too close to a bay door. The outside air was cutting cold, and the kits had a tolerance range that did not care about motivational slogans. I arrived to find a new temporary sign taped to the floor: Rapid Flow Staging Zone. Sloan's handwriting. I looked at the pallet, then at the thermometers, then at the sign. My throat tightened. Andre rolled up beside me, voice low. "She told us to stage everything here to reduce travel." "Tell me who moved this," I said. Andre's eyes flicked toward the glass conference room. "She did, with Martin watching." Of course he watched. That was his contribution, witnessing. I moved the pallet back to its proper refrigerated staging area myself because sometimes the point is not delegation. Sometimes the point is making sure it gets done while someone learns you will not flinch. Sloan found me minutes later. "Why is that pallet not in my staging zone?" "Because your staging zone is a liability," I said. She stepped closer. "You are not aligned." "I am aligned with reality," I said. "Try visiting sometime." Her voice sharpened. "You are sabotaging modernization." I smiled. "Sabotage is your hobby, not mine." Sloane's eyes flashed, and she walked away without another word. But that afternoon, my inbox got another gift: formal coaching memo, insubordination trend. She was stacking paperwork like it could outweigh competence. Meanwhile, the actual warehouse was giving me proof. A picker tripped on loose shrink wrap because the new speed targets encourage sloppy wrapping. A forklift nearly clipped a rack upright because Sloane's new pick paths forced cross traffic. A mislabeled hazmat tote appeared in replenishment because she had streamlined verification. Each incident was logged. Each incident was photographed. Each incident was time-stamped in the system in the vague way our platform records events: early morning, late afternoon, later in the day. That was enough. Then came the moment that made my stomach drop. Tessa met me near receiving with her face pale and her voice tight. "Renee, do not look obvious, but look." She nodded toward Dock 2. A trailer sat there with the doors cracked open, seal dangling like a broken necklace. I felt heat climb my neck. "Who authorized opening it?" Tessa swallowed. "Sloan. She said the paperwork delay was wasting time." "Did anyone verify the seal number?" I asked. Tessa shook her head. She said it was a clerical drama. I walked to the trailer and looked inside. The pallets were wrong. The SKU labels did not match the manifest, and some of the cartons had been retaped. This was not an accident. This was theft wearing a clipboard. I turned slowly and found Sloan approaching, arms folded. "Do not tell me you are panicking over tape." I held up my phone and snapped photos of the seal, the manifest, the retaped cartons. "I am documenting an incident," I said. "You are creating chaos," she snapped. "No," I said, voice steady. "You created an opening." Her face tightened. "You will not accuse me." "I will not accuse you," I said. "I will prove you." She laughed, harsh. "With what? Your little spreadsheets?" I looked at her, calm, because calm is what you wear when someone does not realize you already won the position. "Sloan, you are so confident for someone who keeps stepping into cameras." Her eyes flicked, just once, to the dock security camera. A fraction of a second. Enough. That evening, while the warehouse quieted into its late shift rhythm, I sat at my desk and pulled footage request logs, access records, and vendor compliance histories. Brightmark's systems were not glamorous, but they remembered everything. Sloan thought she was rewriting operations. I was assembling a timeline, and the next week, we had a major client audit scheduled. The kind that decides whether contracts stay or vanish. Sloan had insisted she would lead it, which meant she would stand in front of people who knew how to read numbers, and I would be right there, holding the receipts. The audit team arrived in a tidy line of dark jackets and sharper eyes. They were from Halcyon Medline Partners, one of our biggest clients. They cared about chain of custody, temperature control, traceability, and security. They did not care about Quellian's slogans. Sloan greeted them at the entrance like she was hosting a gala instead of stepping onto a concrete floor that smelled faintly of cardboard and engine oil. "Welcome to Brightmark," she said brightly. "You are about to see a transformed operation." I stood a few steps behind, wearing my vest, my radio clipped to my shoulder, my expression neutral. Neutral is powerful. Neutral lets other people underestimate you without you lifting a finger. Martin hovered near Sloan, sweating through his collar. He looked like a man who had bet on the wrong horse but still hoped the horse would learn to fly. The lead auditor introduced himself and his team. Their questions began politely and immediately got specific. That is how professionals operate. They asked about temperature excursions. They asked about seal verification. They asked about pick accuracy and controlled substance handling. Sloan answered with confident fog. "We have streamlined redundancies. We focus on velocity." The lead auditor nodded slowly, like someone humoring a child with a fake steering wheel. When they reached receiving, the lead auditor pointed to the seal log station. "Show me your seal mismatch procedure." Sloan waved a hand. "We avoid delays by trusting upstream partners."
I watched the auditor's eyebrow rise. Trust is not a control. Sloan laughed lightly. Of course, we have controls. They are just modern.
I stepped forward. "Our documented procedure requires matching seal number to bill and logging a photo before opening," I said. "If there is a mismatch, we quarantine the trailer and notify security and procurement." Sloan's smile stiffened. "Renee, you do not need to." The auditor turned to me. "Are you the warehouse manager?" "I am," I said. "Good," he replied. "You will answer the operational questions." Sloan's eyes flashed like a match being struck. We continued. On the floor, pickers moved fast, too fast. I saw hurried wrapping. I saw a forklift take a turn tighter than I liked. I saw my people trying to hit targets that were not built for human joints. The auditor asked about incident trends. Sloan stepped in. "We reduced negative reporting that created fear culture." The auditor looked at me. "Do you track near misses?" "Yes," I said, "and I have trends." Sloan's voice sharpened. "Renee is overly cautious. She has been here a long time." "Experience is not a flaw," the auditor said flatly. Sloan's jaw tightened. At the staging area, the auditor paused near the bay doors and felt the air. "Why are medical kits staged here?" Sloan replied instantly. "Optimize travel paths. Reduces labor." I walked to the pallet and checked the label. "They are not supposed to be here," I said. "They are supposed to be in cold staging. This zone was created last week without temperature assessment." Sloan's head snapped toward me. "Stop editorializing." The auditor held up a hand. "Do you have documentation of a temperature assessment for this zone?" Sloan blinked. "We do not need one. The air is fine." The auditor turned to his tablet. "That is not an answer." We moved to security controls. The auditor asked for access logs and camera coverage on specific docks. Sloan smiled again, too bright. "We are fully covered." I kept my face neutral, but my pulse steadied. This was the moment. The auditor requested footage for a random receiving event. He chose Dock 2. Sloan's posture shifted, just slightly, like a person realizing the floor is wet. Martin stammered. "We can provide that later." "No," the auditor said. "Now. Random checks are random." We walked to the security office. The supervisor pulled up the dock feed archive. A clip loaded from late afternoon earlier in the week. There was Sloan on camera, gesturing impatiently. There was the trailer seal dangling loose. There was the door being opened. There was no photo log entry visible on the station screen. Sloane's voice turned sharp. This is out of context. The auditor did not look away from the screen. Context is irrelevant. Procedure was not followed. Sloane tried again, quickly. We were optimizing. The paperwork was delayed. The auditor turned to me. Did you approve opening that trailer? No, I said. Was the seal verified? He asked. No, I said. Sloane's laugh came out wrong. You are all being dramatic. The security supervisor cleared his throat. Ma'am, the seal mismatch was recorded after the fact. Renee filed it. Sloane whipped around. Of course she did. She is trying to make me look bad. I finally let my smile show. Sloane, you do not need my help to look bad. You are doing excellent work on your own. Martin made a noise like he swallowed a paperclip. The auditor's tone cooled. We will need a full chain of custody review for inbound shipments over the past month, including seal logs, access logs, and discrepancy notes. Sloane's face drained. That is excessive. It is necessary, the auditor replied. As we left security, Sloane walked close to me, voice low and furious. You planned this. I planned safety, I said. You planned shortcuts. Her eyes narrowed. I will bury you in HR. I looked at her calmly. You will need a shovel and a better alibi. She stopped walking, and for a split second her mask cracked. Not fear exactly, recognition, because she realized the audit was not just about process, it was about patterns, and I had an entire archive of them. Sloane did not sleep well after the audit. I know this because people like her always broadcast their stress by trying to control everything they cannot. The next morning, she marched onto the floor earlier than usual, hair pulled tight, smile missing. She snapped at radios, demanded reports, and hovered near my team like a storm cloud that had learned corporate vocabulary. Martin avoided my eyes. He walked with Sloane like a man escorting his own consequences. Then the email arrived from Halcyon Medline Partners. Corrective action required. Contract review. Pending. Leadership panicked. Panic looks different in every office, but it always smells the same. Fear mixed with blame. Sloane tried to aim that blame at me. She called an emergency meeting with HR and leadership, and she made sure I received the invite as a required attendee, as if she was doing me a favor. When I entered the room, Sloane was already talking. Renee has been obstructive, she said. She refuses to embrace modernization. She is undermining rapid flow. She is creating documentation to manufacture failures. I sat down slowly, opened my binder, and set my phone beside it. The HR director, a woman named Jacqueline, looked tired. Renee, respond. I will, I said, and my voice was calm enough to make Sloane twitch. I slid a single page across the table. This is a summary of incidents since rapid flow started. Near misses increased. Pick errors increased. Temperature staging deviations occurred. Seal verification failures occurred. Maintenance intervals were extended without approval. Sloane scoffed. Cherry-picked. I slid another page. This is not cherry-picked. It is pulled directly from Brightmark's system logs. Martin blinked. Renee, where did you get all this so fast? I looked at him. I did not get it fast. I have been tracking it because it is my job. Sloane leaned forward. Your job is to follow direction. My job is to keep the operation safe and accurate, I said. Your direction conflicts with that. Jacqueline asked, Do you have proof of the seal log failure? I turned my phone screen toward them. Photos. Time-stamped system events in vague system language. A screenshot of the dock camera feed with Sloane in frame. Access logs showing her badge at Dock 2 during the event. Sloane's mouth opened, then closed. Jacqueline frowned. Sloane, did you authorize opening a trailer with a mismatched seal? Sloane's voice turned airy. It was an operational decision. Renee is exaggerating. I tapped my binder. Here is the vendor compliance clause. Here is our internal policy. Here is the client requirement. None of them allow that. Martin swallowed. Sloane, why did you do that? Sloane snapped. Because you hired me to fix a slow, emotional operation. I looked at her. You were hired to improve, not to endanger. Then I slid the final packet across the table, the one I had built quietly, piece by piece, while she strutted. This is Quellian Advisory's implementation template, I said. Sloane's eyes widened. Where did you get that? From your shared drive, I said. You uploaded it under a folder titled Renee Notes. Jacqueline leaned in. What is it? I flipped it open. It is a standardized deck. Same language, same targets, same maintenance interval extensions, same reduced verification steps, and it includes a client list. Martin's face tightened. Client list? Yes, I said. And it matches the pattern Halcyon flagged. Similar corrective actions at other sites, similar complaints, similar security issues. Sloane's voice rose. This is ridiculous. You are implying I copy-paste. I held her gaze. I am not implying it. I am reading it. Jacqueline's tone hardened. Sloane, did you reuse the same transformation program without tailoring for regulated goods? Sloane snapped. Programs work because they are universal. Warehouses are not universal, I said. They are specific. Products are specific. People are specific. Safety is specific. Martin rubbed his forehead. Sloane, we have a contract at risk. Sloane turned on him. Then fire her. She is the problem. The room went quiet. Jacqueline stared at Sloane for a long moment. Renee is not the one on camera opening a mismatched SEAL trailer. Sloane's face went pale. Then the regional VP, who had barely spoken, finally did. We also received a note from Halcyon. They requested that Renee Caldwell lead the corrective action plan. They stated clearly that they trust her operational control. Sloane blinked, stunned. That is not possible. I smiled gently. It is possible when you treat professionals like professionals. Sloane's voice turned brittle. You think you won? I think the warehouse deserves better than a consultant who calls safety dramatic, I said. And I think you underestimated how much evidence a working manager can collect while you pose in a blazer. Jacqueline closed her folder. Sloane, your access is suspended pending review. You will leave your badge at security. Sloane stood abruptly, chair scraping. This is sabotage. I stood too, but I did not raise my voice. No, I said. This is accountability. She glared at me. Enjoy your little kingdom. I leaned in slightly, just enough for her to hear. It is not a kingdom, it is a warehouse, and in here, results matter more than speeches. Sloane stormed out. The room exhaled. Martin looked at me, eyes shiny with regret. Renee, I am sorry. I nodded once. Apologies do not move pallets, I said. Fixes do. Later on the floor, my team watched me walk past. Andre gave a small nod. Tessa exhaled like she had been holding her breath for days. I stopped at the near-miss board and updated it with a new note. Corrective action, reinstate verification, restore maintenance intervals, retrain staging. Simple, clear, real. Revenge is not screaming. Revenge is rebuilding the guardrails after someone tried to sell them for scrap. And as the conveyors hummed and the radios crackled back to life, I did what I had always done. I ran the floor, just without anyone calling it quaint.